Hi there, everyone. Meteorologist Robert Spetta here with you on the 17th, going into the 18th of August 2013. And while the tropics are extremely active still today, we have the remnants of Utur continuing to bring heavy rainfall across southern China. Also, we're seeing heavy rain due to Tropical Depression 12 Whiskey, also known as Tropical Depression Moringa from Pagasa. That's bringing some heavy rainfall across northern Luzon, the last place you need it, really, on the face of the earth, and still the death toll continues to rise there. Today, officially, according to the NDRMC, because of Typhoon Utur, when it came through here, it has caused 10 deaths. 4 people are still missing. And then, well, our Tropical Depression 13W. Now, this one, also being known as Tropical Depression B, no other agencies have named it, so we're just going to call it 13W at least for now. But this possibly could become Trummy, or this one down here towards the south, Tremmy. Really, they're rotating around each other, a dance of storms. This one towards the north, I first want to start talking about that one because technically it made landfall over Okinawa today. And with that said, were the winds all that strong? No, not really. Yeah, the storm made landfall, pushed over Okinawa today, and no one said anything about the winds. We saw some passing showers earlier this morning, some thunderstorm activity blowing up here, but nothing all too serious. But right now, key thing, this is about 1900 Japan Standard Time. Winds coming out of the north, we start to see them loop around here. Well, let's take a look at around 2000. You start to see some of the winds here coming due from the west. Up here, well, basically due from the east. And then a little swirl in the cloud cover, a little swirl in the reports out here at the very least. And then basically they all start to switch and come directly from the east. So what we kind of can gather is that a storm system pushed over Okinawa, or at least a low pressure center, I mean. And JMA has responded with that, just showing the current position, at least just a few hours ago. Now it's a little bit farther there towards the west, gauging on the winds of Tropical Depression B. They still expect this to intensify to a tropical storm in the next 24 hours. But with that said, the other one that is currently out here, Tropical Depression A, also known as Maring, if they're from Bagasa in the Philippines, has winds of 30 gusting up to 45 knots. They still expect this one to become a tropical storm as well. Like I've been saying the last several days, really, it is truly a dance of two storms. It's called the Fujiwara effect, and in short, the Fujiwara effect is really when you get two storms, they venture too close to each other, and this really only happens in the Western Pacific from what I have seen in the past, and they start to rotate around each other. We have our tropical depression off here towards the north, the one towards the south. At this time, Depression A is going to really loop around here. This one looks like it's going to loop back around. They rotate around a center, very weak high pressure area, but that basically keeps them in place. Now, they're going to do this, and this is what makes forecasting these two storms just messy and very uncertain, because really at this time, as far as the forecast looks, it looks like these are going to continue to meander, and they slowly will gradually group together and just bring widespread rainfall out here. And you can see this monsoonal moisture just extending through this area, so it has a lot of moisture available for it to intensify. What usually happens though is one of these storms are going to get stronger. Basically, think of it as a seesaw. You have two people equal weight next to each other. But then a fatter kid comes along and he sits on one end of the seesaw, knocking the other kid off. This may happen, and I think the fatter kid is going to be the one down there towards the South Tropical Depression modding. I think that one is going to be the one to develop a little bit stronger. We can see it here on the GFS outlook going into Sunday. This one loses its moisture towards the north, and the one down towards the south kind of maintains somewhat of the intensity. If we have Tropical Storm Tremmy, I think this is going to be the one right here towards the east of Okinawa. And like I said, though, it's still going to rotate around what's left of the one off there towards north. So that's going to loop back around, and you're going to be looking at it, well, another landfalling storm system for you there into the southern Japanese islands. A weak one, nothing too significant, but it is going to be kicking off the rainfall. But you can see here through the coming days, yeah, these, at least the remnants of both of these low pressure areas are still going to be around, and we're going to be seeing widespread showers. Now, this is the GFS. I want to show you what the JMA model is showing, because the GFS model keeps this area relatively weak through the coming days. And kind of on the other end of the spectrum would be the one towards the south really sucking up all the moisture from the one towards the north and kind of getting organized. At this time, yeah, the fat kid sits down, he knocks the other one off, but really nothing too big comes from the fallout from that. Now, with the JMA/GPV model, there is some fallout, and we can see it down here towards the south. This starts to intensify. We get the pressure dropping below 1,000 HPA. This is going through Saturday into Sunday. Remember, this is a local regional high resolution model, so this is why it looks a little bit clearer out here. You have Taiwan, Okinawa rated here. The winds even respond around the islands into this model. And then going into Sunday night into Monday morning, the pressure continues to drop, and we're looking at it intensifying up to a typhoon by this point, going into Monday and Tuesday, looping back around and moving around Miyako-jima, heading out there towards the west. This is another very plausible scenario, and actually even the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, JTWC, the Navy / Air Force guys out of Hawaii, think this scenario is actually rather valid. This storm is going to be basically eating up the one towards the north. They expected to loop back around, moving across Ishigaki-jima and Miyako-jima as a tropical storm, and then intensifying up to a typhoon in the extreme long range. Also, kudos to JTWC, because typically when they have a storm just kind of lingering, and as far as the track, it's very vague at this time. What they tend to do and what they like to do, they must have got new forecasters there, because in years past, they would always point these storms at the military bases out here, and today it looks like they're not doing that. So that is a plus and really a step in the right direction. But that's just my opinion, just some meteorologists out here in the Western Pacific. But they also expect 13W, the one off here towards the north, the one that, well, actually the position of it farther down here towards the south, just gauged on those winds. I think that this position they have here is kind of relatively off, but they have it farther off here towards the north, pulling off there towards the west, really maintaining that weak intensity, and then it merges with the other one, our tropical depression, A or Maring. With that said, though, they still both expect them to become a typhoon north of Taiwan. The other thing I read in their prognostic reasoning is that there is low confidence as far as the tracks of these storms after the next 24 to 48 hours, really just because of how they are going to be interacting with each other through the coming days. So this is just the satellite route going through the evening here on this one towards the north, as far as its impact here on Okinawa. Really, on the first frame here, we can see kind of the center of circulation here on the satellite imagery, and really the one thing I want to note is that it's very well exposed, and it's really distant from the cloud cover and that big cloud mass farther off towards the north, and I think that's what JTWC is mistaking with the center of circulation, why JMA has it farther down here towards the south. They're basing the center of circulation on winds and also on pressure changes here, but also the bulk of the cloud cover is farther off there towards the north, and I think it's really displaced from the center at this time. So not really a decently organized system, and we don't really expect this one to intensify up all too much. So with that said, both areas actually remain rather disorganized today. As far as their forecast, well, it could very well change one way or the other. We could have the one down towards the south become a stronger storm into the forecast. I don't see much hope for the one towards the north. They could either also meander around each other and just do this dance of two storms through the coming days and really just stay relatively weak. But one thing that I think that is for sure, the southern Japanese islands, you're still going to be seeing some heavy rain showers on Monday, Tuesday, into Wednesday. This is your 72-hour accumulation outlook. You're going to be seeing that heavy precipitation out here. Also, while we have this up, the southeastern portions of China, you're still looking at some showers from the remnants of Utor. Definitely not welcome there, and especially along the northwestern portions of Luzon. Maring and the southwest monsoon is going to continue to enhance there, bring some showers, even extending down towards the Manila area. And another thing, by the way, we have Tropical Storm Pawa out here. That is going to be crossing the international date line in the coming days. It will be called Typhoon Pawa if it does intensify. So these H's on the map from the CPC, technically speaking, I know I have some friends out there I've been talking to on Twitter at least, that is going to be more of a typhoon and less of an H. And a couple models, one model in particular, the NavGem, well, that picks up on really our areas out here in East China Sea staying relatively weak while we have it up. We'll show it to you, and really they just continue to bring heavy rainfall. The one towards the south really gains the more intensity of the two, but it stays more on the lower end of a tropical storm. But obviously on the map, Pawa out here continues to pull off there, and it possibly could really just kick up a lot of seas in the northern Pacific before a large trough starts to come through, and that picks it up and pulls it off towards the north. But yeah, it's quite interesting. I actually had somebody ask earlier on today if it was going to impact Mindanao or around Visayas. No, it doesn't really look like it's going to happen. That would be way too long. You have that high pressure ridge off here that also is keeping our tropical depressions farther towards the south. Well, along the eastern periphery of it, we still have a little bit of troughing rate in this area, and if anything, this would just pick it up and very well steer it off towards the north, becoming a large extratropical storm for the North Sea. So there's that. But that is all for right now, everybody. Wow, a 10-minute conversation here. Thanks for watching all the way through. Question of the day. What do you think is going to be happening to these two storms? What do you think we should call them? I've been saying dancing of two storms, but I'm kind of interested if you have any ideas on what these two storms should be called. And yeah, stay safe out there, everybody. Bye.